I want to bring in ABC News Deputy Political Director Avery Harper on the politics side, because Avery, as Trump is in this courtroom, he can't be on the campaign trail. And as we talked about earlier with Trump and this alleged affair, a new poll shows 80% of Trump supporters would still support him if he's convicted of a crime, 20% unsure or won't. So how significant is this case to the presidential election?
Right. I think it's really important to look at the number that's on the opposite side of that poll question. Yes, we know that there has been a great deal of his supporters that would still support him despite the fact, or if he is convicted of a crime. But 20% did not answer that they would continue to support him if he is convicted of a crime. 16% say they would reconsider their support for the former president, and 4% say they would withdraw that support altogether. That could matter in a race that is likely going to be won or lost with very slim margins. And so this is something that the Trump campaign has to think about as they are continuing to campaign, and to think about how to keep their supporters on their side.
And Stormy Daniels was just asked to identify former President Trump in court. She apparently sat up slightly in her chair and said navy blue jacket, second at the table. John, I want to go to you on that point. And Avery, thanks for breaking down the politics. But John, I want to go back to what's happening inside that courtroom right now, because Donald Trump, as you said, has avoided eye contact. He's been looking at the floor. He's been looking away from Stormy Daniels. He's been writing notes. What's the significance of that moment for him to have to sit there while she identifies him? That's the guy I'm talking about.
I mean, think about every episode of Law and Order you've probably watched in your life, right? How many times have we all seen the person on the witness stand point to the person that's being accused, saying, is that the guy? Is that the girl? Is that the person? Is that the one that happened that night? That is what is going on in that courtroom right now. And to think that as a former president of the United States, someone is sitting on a witness stand and identifying you as the person involved in any criminal activity, right? I mean, obviously that night's not the crime, but it's what happened thereafter. That's just, again, as we've said, humiliating for Donald Trump. I think the idea that, you know, even Stormy Daniels had to lean forward. I mean, one of the things we've heard, and we're trying to, get a sense from talking to some witnesses here, some have said that it's pretty hard to see Donald Trump from their position in the courtroom because, again, you have the judge's desk a little higher, the way the courtroom is positioned, et cetera. But to think that there was a moment where she's having to lean over and look and say, yep, that's the guy. I mean, I'd wonder if we see, what the review is from Donald Trump, what he's doing. Our team's reporting right now that Trump and Blanche are just sitting there going through paperwork, not really paying attention. There is a photo that apparently was just shown in the courtroom to our friends in the control room. Kate, I don't know if we have it, but it's a photo of Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump together at that golf club during that golf tournament. And that really is what prosecutors are going to say is that, for Donald Trump denying the affair, I never met her, I never saw her. Unfortunately, as we know, Donald Trump is always the person that takes a photo any chance he can get. And there is a photo from that golf tournament of a smiling Donald Trump in a yellow polo, as jurors were just shown, next to Stormy Daniels.
Brian, they're also talking about ages here. Daniels testified that she was 27 on that day when she met Donald Trump. And she said, I didn't know his age, but I knew he was as old or older than my father, noting that her father was 60 at the time. They're also showing another photo of Trump at the golf outing wearing the identical outfit. So they seem to be going through these photos from that day to show Stormy Daniels apparently isn't making this up. Here are photos of the two of them together. Clearly, she's recounting this day they met, and here are the photos to show that they did. Brian, what do you think about this line of questioning?
It's strong testimony. It doesn't go to the actual question of whether or not Donald Trump was guilty of these charges. But anytime you have testimony from a witness and then corroboration through another form of evidence, it only bolsters the credibility of that individual. Where, as John has pointed out, in the past, Donald Trump has said, I don't even know who this person was. There's the photo there, I believe. Now, who could this person be? And now you have Stormy Daniels saying, no, I didn't meet him there. And here is the proof to do so. Testimony and corroboration. It makes it for a very powerful combination in front of the jury.
And Brian, what about the age gap? Why highlight the fact that she was just 27 and clearly significantly younger than the former president in this picture?
I mean, maybe I'm a little jaded. I've practiced in Manhattan and Brooklyn as well. But I think the overall idea here for the prosecution is, because the difference in age has nothing to do with the allegations, is to try to maybe present that Donald Trump was, or that Stormy Daniels felt that he was in a position of power because he was older and who he was, and that there was some level of, when the paychecks came and she was told to keep quiet, she did so because of who he was, both in age and power. That's the only thing that I can surmise of that, because there's really no relevance as to his age or her age at the time that they met, because nothing in that interaction has anything to do with the case other than they know each other.
All right. Well, we're going to take a very quick break. John Santucci, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you. And obviously stick around with me, because we're following this trial all day as we hear testimony from adult film actress Stormy Daniels on the stand right now. We will bring you the latest on that right after this break. Keep it here.